the sports you do and don't know, both within and surrounding Baltimore. Don't ask him about preseason games, oh no, stuffing things in Griffin Basso. Despite it being on the internet, he can call it what he wants, so Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio, Glenn Clark Radio. Duke sucks.
Like this is an opportunity that you're going to be getting a lot of third base.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that's why you kind of stay ready and you do all the work in the off season and in spring training just in case something freakish happens, and it's unfortunate for them. I really do feel horrible, especially for Wesley being out. Just the footwork aspect, keeping my feet moving, not getting too tall and upright, and I just think that I can get better at staying lower to the ground, playing low, and I think I got a strong arm, and I got to use that to my ability, and just be a complete third baseman.
All of that courtesy of the Baltimore Sun. Thank you to them, as Coby Mayo, made a nice play yesterday. He also had one early on in the game that he wasn't able to come up with that turned into a Zach McKinstry single into left field. But the experiment of Coby Mayo at third base is almost certainly going to continue. Ramon Arias did indeed end up signing with the Cardinals this weekend, so
the experiment for a guy who was titled third baseman.
He's not a third baseman, but he's going to be attempt to be a third baseman. And it's obviously he's played the position in the minor leagues, but yeah. The experiment will continue, as it's not going to be Ramon Arias who comes to save the Orioles in the aftermath of Jordan Westberg's injury, and we will see about the timeline. I was obviously the last time we were here was Thursday, and so we didn't have all the details. We were thinking the worst. Mike Elias attempted to play that down and suggest that maybe it's not going to be as long-term as the fears were. And we still don't know the timeline. He just said definitely all of April and really no idea from there. We'll find out. That's all we can say at this point. We'll find out what the timeline is. And I would tell you I am apprehensive about Coby Mayo at third base, but hopefully he gets more and more comfortable. He's got a lot of time between now and opening day, and we will see if he can nail down being the primary third baseman for this team in that time period. It is a Monday edition of Glenn Clark Radio. Yeah, I'm fired up about the hockey too. We're all fired up about the hockey. Everybody's excited. There's very little that we can do from a content perspective because NBC and the Olympics, they protect everything. They guard it very closely. And by the way, I've seen other people very frustrated that there isn't more coverage on ESPN. That's part of the problem. You are very limited in how much you are able to share in media from the Olympics. And that's conversation that's much broader than what happened, and it's not as important, so I'll save it. The important part is that there's a second gold medalist, and because we weren't here on Friday, I didn't really get a lot of time to talk about what happened with the women. I jumped out of my chair when I was sitting here on Thursday watching that because I was so convinced that they were losing that game. Nothing was going right. They weren't even getting forward in order to get the goalie off the ice. And the same thing, it's funny because the U.S. was, in the women, they were much better early on in the game. They were dominating, and then it just sort of went to hell in the third period. On the flip side, the men looked good early, and then were getting their asses run off the ice. I mean, they were begging Just get to overtime and get a couple of these dudes off the ice. And there is a legitimate – what's not a legitimate conversation is questioning the legitimacy of what happened because it was a 3-on-3 overtime. Everyone knew the rules and decided to play. The Canadians knew that if they went to overtime, there was going to be a 3-on-3. They had taken advantage of 3-on-3 overtime in order to be in that position. So that part of it is completely illegitimate. But there is a legitimate conversation to have about whether or not it should exist. That part is a separate conversation. A legitimate tournament was had. The United States won both the men and the women. It was awesome. You can have a legitimate conversation about whether or not the Olympics should, particularly for the gold medal games, go to a 3-on-3 overtime. And I probably line up with those that say they shouldn't. 3-on-3 is wild, man. I mean, it is wild to play 3-on-3 hockey. I'm probably more inclined to say it should be 4-on-4 in the rest of the playoffs and then just play on in the medal round. I mean, like,
does seem exciting, 3-on-3 hockey.
But it's an utterly different sport. I mean, it's a completely different sport. Still, changes nothing about that. It was awesome. Jack Hughes is an American hero. Connor Hellebuck. There should be a statue of that guy outside of every hockey arena in the world.
Am I allowed to show pictures, or is that
No.
allowed? No, don't.
Well, I mean, I don't know pictures still. I mean, is that what's the picture you want to show? Oh, the one.
Save,
the Taze save.
The save.
Yeah, man, it's insane. And like a little bit of luck, right? Like that it just happens to be in the spot where you can miraculously get his paddle to it. I mean, that is unreal. I mean, like, legitimately unreal, man. Crazy. What is it? I don't even know.
I like that meme.
Okay. All right. Sure. Whatever that is. Yeah, that's the one. Nuts, man. Nuts. Awesome. Everything about it was dope. A cool moment. It's only happened twice before ever that the U.S. has won a men's hockey gold medal. So, hell yeah, brother. Like, I was at the gym, and I fell off the elliptical. I fell off the elliptical. This is straight shit. Now, it's not like somebody said, one of my buddies was like, did you ask if they have any security footage? I don't think it was spectacular enough that the security footage would make us go viral or anything like that. I was so fired up that I sort of like jumped, and I ended up crashing off the elliptical.
Well, we should obtain that anyway, I think.
I don't know. If you want to ask over at my gym, I'm not. They don't advertise. I love them. They know that, but they don't advertise. I pay them.
Just
so
my gym.
My gym is the one.
The
Sorry, it's the way it works. No free plugs if I'm paying you. That's not gonna happen. If I'm paying you, then that doesn't work that way. But indeed, I went and I kind of I don't like jumping would be unfair. I like move my body in a way that
I'd like to imagine you were on the elliptical. The whole thing tips over.
No, none of that did not occur. But I was I was also sort of like reaching out because the guy 2 ellipticals down from me was also watching and reacting at the same time, and so he was like trying to high five me. So like as I'm falling down, I also noticed the guy, and it's a whole thing. All right, are we doing this?
I think so. Yeah.
Excellent. So we'll get more into baseball, more into hockey as the show goes on. I promise. But it's like we're a week away from March. We are a week away from starting to really ramp things up as far as postseason basketball is concerned. And last week, Navy basketball clinched the outright regular season Patriot League title. And then, as if that wasn't enough, they went on the road and they kicked some Army butt this weekend to boot. And joining us now, he is well on his way to another All-Patriot League season. He's Navy guard Austin Benigni, and he's with us now here on GCR. Austin, it's Glenn. It's great to chat with you, man. Thank you for taking the time for us, and congratulations on a Patriot League regular season title.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hey, man, I know that you've got bigger goals. I understand. But this season has been really special. How did this all come together? Coaching change, the guys that were there, obviously you, Aiden, but how did it happen that you guys have played as well as you have throughout the course of this year?
I think a lot of it just played into what happened last year. Obviously we came really close to achieving our goals last year, making it to the conference championship, fell short there. And then I think everybody just really came together over this summer and kind of had a shared goal, kind of lit a fire underneath us that we're right where we wanted to be, just fell a little bit short. I think a lot of teams, that can kind of make them give up a little bit. But for us, we really came together, especially with Coach Perry taking over the head coaching job. Obviously, we'd all played from before, so it wasn't like there's a big change there as far as like offensive schemes and such. So we're able to have like a lot of continuity going this year. Obviously, we're an older team this year. The last 2 years, we were one of the youngest teams in the country. This year, we're finally one of the older teams. And so, yeah, just pretty much brought everybody who played in the championship game last year. We all have that experience and just be able to use that every game this year.
You mentioned obviously your experience with Coach Perry. How much of that was important to you in making the decision to come back and finish up at Navy the way that you did? And like, would you have maybe explored other options had that not been the case?
Yeah, it definitely would have been a possibility if that wasn't the case. But once I saw that Coach Perry got the head coaching job, that was really what I was looking for. I just wanted to play for a coach that I knew and had that familiarity with. And he was the one who recruited me to Navy, so I've known him for several years now, even before I committed here to Navy. And just having that relationship made it really easy to come back here. And we both knew what we wanted to achieve this year. I was with his first year as a head coach, and going in my senior year, my last year here playing at Navy, both had that goal and were able to come together to try and make that happen.
I wanted to ask about, because I know Ed DeChellis has been hanging around, right? Like, and I know he
Oh,
was
yes.
there last week, right? Like, how cool. Obviously, that relationship, it's unique, right? Because Coach Perry worked for Coach DeChellis. Like, there's maybe circumstances where that might be awkward in certain places. But how cool has it been for everybody in the program that he's been able to be around you guys and sort of celebrate with you guys and with Coach Perry what you've been able to accomplish?
It's been great. He's come up for a bunch of the games here in the beginning of the season, off-season workouts and stuff. Then he's been here the last week or so. Few wins, which has been really cool to see him. But yeah, like you said, it's not awkward at all. I said we all played for Coach D, and he retired, and kind of handed off the reins to Coach Perry and kind of set it all up for him to take over. And I think it's been a really smooth transition for us. Couldn't really have hoped for anything better as far as like a continuity perspective. Obviously, we all know Coach Perry. We all know Coach D. That Coach Coach Perry been under him for the last almost 12 years or something like that. So yeah, for us it was a no brainer.
That's really cool, man. It's a really cool thing to see you guys celebrate together. Austin Benigni is with us here on GCR. Austin, again, going back to winning the Patriot League and what you referenced about getting to the title game a year ago, because a lot of places, you'd say, hey, new year, new season, new team. We don't talk about what happened in the past. How much did you guys talk about that and say we are going to allow this to fuel us, to remember those feelings of coming up short in DC last year and let that be what fuels us to getting over the hump this season?
I mean, I think we talked about it a lot, especially just from a player to player perspective, but also from a coach to player perspective. Coach Perry's always reminding us, we were there last year. We were right there. It just had a little bit farther that we had to go that we just couldn't reach out at that time. But this year, I think just knowing that we're an older team, that we've been there before, no other team has the experience that we do in the Patriot League as far as returners go. Even American, lost a lot of their players that helped them on that run. We just felt really confident going into this year that we've been there before, been where nobody else in the Patriot League has been, and that's the championship game. And I think we just knew that going into this year is going to be something special. We're one of the older teams, obviously, like I said, and then I returned pretty much all of our players, which big help, especially in this day and age of college basketball. A lot of people transfer in and out. We've all played together for all 3 or 4 years now, all of us. So that's played a huge role in us just being able to come together, and especially in a lot of like tight games that we played in this year. Maybe last year we don't finish those games, but this year we've been able to pull ahead in those and finish them out.
How do you handle the line between this has been a remarkable season, and you should enjoy your accomplishments, but not getting too high about it because, as you keep pointing out, you got bigger goals that you want to achieve.
Right. I mean, obviously, you want to enjoy the moment. You've worked hard for this your entire life, especially coming after long season last year, a long off season this year, getting ready for the season. It's nice to see it all pay off. You celebrate the win, right when it happens. You go in the locker room, you celebrate together. You're all happy that just got that win, but then it's on to the next one. So you have that little brief moment of celebration that you can kind of enjoy that fact that you just succeeded in what you're trying to do. But ultimately know that you still have at this point in the season 5 games left before we get to the Stillway tournament, which is our ultimate goal. So, we got to lock in for this game on Wednesday and then the game on Saturday against Colgate will be 2 big games for us. Getting ready for the Patriot League playoff play. And yeah, just keep pushing forward, just one game at a time.
I'm sure somebody has brought up like that. Maybe do you want to carry the pressure of a win streak into the postseason? I imagine you guys are the type that say we just want to be playing our best basketball going into the postseason.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I have a win streak, but I couldn't tell you how many games we've won in a row at this point. I'm not really sure. All we know is that every game we go into, coaches just remind us all we have to do is go 1-0 today, and we just keep trying to go 1-0 every game that we play, and so far it's worked out.
Austin, where does your toughness come from? Like, for people that don't know, you're not the biggest dude on the face of the planet, right? Like, but
No.
yet you play with a tenacity that is almost unmatched. Where does that come from? That this is the type of basketball player that you are.
I'd say just growing up, I was brought up and trained, and when it came to playing basketball, growing up, I grew up in just north of Houston. We'd always go down to workouts in downtown Houston with John Lucas, my trainer, Coach Ben, worked out with him. He'd take me there, and then it'd be during the school year, and I'd be going in at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be the only middle schooler there, and it'd just be all college players there because they're in their off-season workouts while all the other kids are in school or going to school. I was homeschooled, so I was playing basketball in the mornings, and so he'd take me to those workouts. It'd just be me and a bunch of college players. I'd be forced to go play with them because there's nobody in my eyes to play. And so, you just grow up playing against a bunch of bigger, older guys your whole life. And get used to it in your way to make things work for yourself, even if you're a little bit undersized like me. But yeah, once you get used to that, if I'm building that over several years of playing like that, yeah, it becomes a little bit easier. You learn how to play aggressive and play to your strengths.
That's really cool, man. I didn't know the part about John Lucas. That's all. I mean, John Lucas, a Maryland basketball legend, obviously, and an NBA legend. What did that relationship mean to you, and how important was it to help you get to this place?
Yeah, it was a huge part of my development as a basketball player, and especially like the mindset I took into it. He's always telling players to be more assertive. I remember the first day went to one I was like in 5th grade. He cussed me out in front of everybody and ripped me. I was a little 5th grader. There's a bunch of college kids there. He's ripping me for like not trying hard or something like that. You just kind of get used to that. And then, my trainer Ben Perkins, who trained me since I was in 5th grade till reaching college, played a big part in me just becoming the player and the skill development role there. And so yeah, those 2 guys definitely played a big role in my.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Austin, why was Navy right for you? I mean, we just haven't had a chance to chat about it. I know you're getting near the end of the time at Navy, but like, why was Navy right for you, and what has this experience for you at the academy meant? Obviously, not just from a basketball standpoint, but from a human standpoint and the person that you've become.
It's obviously I didn't even know really what the academy was until getting recruited by Coach going to my junior high school. So it kind of opened my eyes. That's you. See, it's a much different institution than what a lot of people go through in their college careers. It's different, just day-to-day life and the opportunity to provide you after. Sure, trying to make that college decision, what I wanted my life to look like in college, gave me a big, give me a step forward in the life after, and give me a route to go, which give me a little bit of an off point, I guess you could say, after college and transitioning from basketball into real. That kind of like security that gives you, you don't really have to worry about your job for the 10 years. Nice. And then it's an amazing place here. When I came on a visit, it's between here and Mount St. Mary's, and I got along really well. The players were just like on another level person, pretty much. Great people. Dorsey, Sean Yoder were the people who were on my with me, and they really were some of the coolest people I've met in the recruiting process amongst like other players in colleges, and that made it really easy to come in here.
That's really cool, man. What about? Did you get your service assignment?
Yes, sir. Navy pilot.
Oh man, where did that interest in becoming a pilot come from?
Um, well, I've had a bunch of teammates go pilot, and just the cool opportunities it provides, and the training, and I managed to the training last summer, called which allows you to experience flying, and learn how to fly over the course of 2 weeks, and then so I spent that time there. You get like 10 flights, and then you solo. So it's definitely one of the coolest things I've ever done. Plane, and so that kind of sealed the deal for me.
Were you nervous at all?
But I was the first couple times I got in the air.
Yeah, right.
Once I got to the solo, practice, my instructor was very cool. He taught me everything I needed, so it made it pretty easy once I got up there and just be able to get up there and then land causing any problems.
I guess, yeah, by that point you better not be nervous because,
Right.
like, there's nothing that anybody can do about it. That is wild, man. But that's really cool. First of all, thank you for that service commitment that you've made. That's awesome, man. And everything you're doing on the basketball floor, it's going to be amazing to see what you continue to do with your life and where everything goes from there. The road to the Patriot League title goes through Annapolis this year, as Navy's going to be hosting and hopefully making a run towards the NCAA tournament. Austin Benigni, been awesome to watch you play. Can't wait to see what the next chapter is as this season unfolds. Thank you for spending the time with us this morning, man. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Austin Benigni of Navy. Appreciate him taking the time for us, as they do have a couple more in the regular season before the Patriot League tournament gets underway. And that includes they're going to be taking on Loyola this Wednesday. And so a chance for you to maybe check out like a really good Patriot League matchup here in Baltimore on Wednesday night. And then home Saturday against Colgate before the Patriot League tournament starts the following week. A couple of things. One, I am not going to get involved in your culture wars related to hockey. I'm not going to do it. I don't care. I don't care if the president likes one hockey team more than the other hockey. I don't care about any of it. I don't. If you all want to be weirdos, by all means, go be weirdos. I'm a sports fan. I absolutely loved watching the U.S. women win the gold medal. I absolutely loved watching the U.S. men win the gold medal. If either of those teams had lost, I would have been heartbroken. That's it. Everything else is just peak weirdo behavior. Plain and simple. We're just a bunch of weirdos. And so everything that becomes a culture war, this is what's right. No. No. You have some deep-seated problems. You need to go see the lady. This was a hockey team winning a hockey game, and it was awesome, and it was a cool thing that we could all be galvanized by. That is the part of sports that I like, as I say constantly. Yes, there's lots of things about sports that are to me, but inherently, it's the idea that there are very few things that people can actually gather around that are shared experiences. They're so few and far between. Truth be told, it's part of the reason why we all obsess over the weather. Whenever there's anything weather related, people are like, "Oh, you're obsessed with it. You're talking about it so much." It's one of the few things that is shared, that we all experience, or a large group of people experiences. That's sports. That's why, to me, I dig the Olympics. And I acknowledge that, like, certain things aren't for me, but, like, if the people that are rallying around, what's her name? Alyssa Liu, is that her name, that won the figure skating? Awesome. Dope. If you're into figure skating, that's so cool, man. And she seems cool, and that's great. We don't have a lot of these things. They don't exist. So, yeah, I dig the Olympics. I dig the shared experience of it. And that this week was incredible, was awesome. And everything else is just peak weirdo behavior. Either because you are desperately seeking attention or because you really have some deep-seated issues and trauma. If you've said anything about somebody doing it the right way or anything along those lines, I'm telling you, again, it lets you acknowledge, hey, I'm just someone who, even if you are someone who desperately seeks attention, you should also probably see the lady. But either way, you just need to see somebody to deal with your personal issues. If you can't enjoy watching if you're somebody who can't enjoy watching the women's soccer team, but can enjoy watching the men's hockey team, see the lady, talk to somebody. Same way the other way. If you can only enjoy watching certain teams because of how they speak about politics or what you like, and you can't see somebody, I beg of you. And I don't say this flippantly. This is not, we all should go see the lady, truthfully. We all should seek therapy. But nothing brings it out like this. Nothing does. This is hockey. Now, if you do politics and you got an opinion about the director of the FBI and whether or not he should be drinking beers with the hockey team, that's a different conversation. It has nothing to do with me. The hockey team itself rules. The women's hockey team rules. They're all dope. They're all awesome. And they all did great things. And to my knowledge, none of them committed any crimes. None of them Ryan Lochte'd themselves while they were, created an international embarrassment while they were at the Olympics. To my knowledge, none of them have done anything awful, at least of late. So, Hillary Knight, for Christ's sake, got engaged while she was at the Olympics. Wow. Good for her.
They honored Gaudreau and his family.
Which was beautiful, man. Again, we are all capable of just not being weirdos. We're capable of it. We don't choose to do it, but we are capable of it. Of just taking something for what it is. Recognizing it, enjoying it, appreciating it, and not making something more of it. Just saying, hey, this is cool. I'm glad we had this experience. And if you're a hockey fan, they're going to go play, but maybe by next week, because your team is playing against the New Jersey Devils, you're going to hate Jack Hughes again. I mean, that's the way it goes. For a little while, you're an American hero, and then you're the guy that plays for the New Jersey Devils. I know a lot of people talk about
the Maple
right.
Leafs,
Yeah,
there was plays for the Jets.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk about how it's a shame that they won't get the hero's welcome when they go to play for their teams, because obviously they broke the hearts of
probably a lot of their fans,
the countries they played for. But I swear to you, we are capable of it. And I'm never going to join you in your culture wars. It's got to be exhausting, man. You can't just watch hockey. And I get some of you just don't like hockey. You just don't like sports. It's all about.
To you, what's wrong? Then you need to also
it's just all about culture wars. That's it. You live for that. That is your sport, is culture wars. And again, you definitely, that's not a joke, you definitely need to see the lady. But some of you, I think, are sports fans, but you definitely want to find a way to turn it into culture war. And it's exhausting. God, it's exhausting. It's just too much. It was awesome. They won a hockey game. It was incredible. It was a moving moment. The Johnny Gaudreau stuff was beautiful, man. Beautiful. God, how do you not feel something about that? That was spectacular. there aren't a whole lot of, the funny thing is there aren't really a whole lot of talking points that come from it. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, the overtime thing, that's a fair talking point, but we're going to forget about it because there's not going to be another Olympics for 4 years. By the time we get back and they never bother to do anything about it, like, we're going to get to the next Olympics and be like, oh, damn, right? They stuck with that 3-on-3 thing.
Well, I think people are
really never talked
be
about
happy that we're not getting 7 overtimes in the Olympics. I don't think we need that.
I mean, I think you're right. Although
the way that game was going, it was going to stay 1-1.
It definitely. Well, you say that. I don't know, man. The way that one was going, I don't think I agree. The Canadians, the ice was like this. The Canadians were going to break through at some point.
Yeah, but Connor Hellebuyck was a brick wall. So.
I understand that, but there's only so much that you can ask when you're standing down here and they're up here. Like, I mean, it was dominant. And again, that doesn't mean that Nathan McKinnon has anything to back him up. Nathan McKinnon said, "You asked me who the better team was today." Well, Nathan, the
team that won, probably.
The team that won. We have rules. That's the way this works. You got to score another goal. You didn't. Sorry, that's just the way that it goes.
Right. They had 60 minutes to score 2 goals.
Yes,
so.
They didn't. They failed. I mean, like, I do not feel bad for the Canadians in any way. They knew what the rules were. They understood. They decided to compete. They didn't say, hey, 3-on-3 in overtime? We refuse. Until you fix these rules, we're out. And I think as others have pointed out, I believe it was 4-on-4 when Sidney Crosby scored the winner for the Canada back in 2010? That's not 3-on-3, and I do think the 4-on-4 is better than 3-on-3, but still, the moral being, I'm for that conversation. The other conversations that come from this, like, there's inevitably this is proof that other sports should send their best players because of what it does. I don't know, man. With respect, I loved this. I soaked up. I watched every game. I'm not going to watch another hockey game until maybe the conference finals. I don't have a team.
Pick one.
No. No, sports doesn't exist that way for me.
The Mammoth, right? That's your
You better.
Clayton Keller,
you want to fight?
Clayton Keller.
Yeah, I'm happy for Clayton Keller, who I loved, but I feel nothing towards anymore. That's just the reality. I don't know how much it translates. Yes, these guys have more name value at this point, and so maybe there will be people that will tune in to watch the New Jersey Devils, or maybe if you live in New Jersey, or I guess New York because they're in Newark, and you weren't a Devils fan because you weren't, maybe you're more inclined to get out to a game now. I'm not suggesting there's no value that comes from it. I do think there is value, but I do think we overstate that. The majority of the players in the 1980 Olympic team went on to play in the NHL, but we don't really remember who they played for. We remember what they did in 1980. Like, this typically stands alone. I don't think that the NBA players being involved in the Olympics has helped the NBA as much as it's helped the Olympics. That doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. We love the Olympics. And we love that those guys love the Olympics because we're into it and we think it's cool that they're into it. To me, it's not, this is proof that Major League Baseball needs to send their players to the Olympics. I want them to, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I still acknowledge it is different because that's still a farce, right? Like, you can never do this in baseball because of pitching.
Take a full 3 weeks off. I don't know. Like,
you can't have the pitchers pitch.
Yeah, but if
it's
they're
a farce.
Not pitching anywhere, like, I don't know. I mean, maybe you can't.
No, you definitely cannot. Because the teams are paying them $30 million
Sidney Crosby got hurt
per year.
I mean, like,
I understand that.
It just happens.
Unfortunately, it's not like that. You're not giving away 20 innings in your season when you're paying somebody $30 million a year.
Edwin
it's
Diaz
not
missed
happening.
A full season. Like,
understood. And how do you think the Mets fans feel about the World Baseball Classic?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like,
you can't legitimately do it. You can do it if you want, but you
they're
do
not
it
thrilled because they're not Dominican. I mean,
thank you. You do it like this. You do it by saying, we'll let our guys go, but they can throw once or like tops twice and no more than 3 or 4 innings. It's a farcical event if it involves baseball players.
All right, so what if Aaron Judge and Mike Trout and Gunnar are in the lineup, and then you just have AAA pitchers or something?
That's what you want to watch.
That would be interesting.
That's what you want to
We're
watch.
probably going to get like 15 to 14 games.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I mean this. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, but baseball is unique in that you can't have a legitimate competition. It cannot happen. The hockey competition was legitimate. The basketball competition is legitimate. You cannot have a legitimate baseball competition. It's not possible.
We're about to have one in a couple weeks.
No, there is nothing legitimate about that event. It's a fun event.
Someone's going to get a trophy.
It's neat. Yes, they'll get a trophy, but it is not a legitimate competition to see who's best at baseball. We know that because if a guy was throwing a no-hitter for 5 innings, you'd probably want him to keep pitching, but you can't do that. We know it's a farce. I'm torn. I do think that, you should try to have legitimate baseball players in the Olympics because it makes the Olympics better and it makes it fun. It's cool. It's neat. But there's no comparison between that and hockey. And I don't know what it does for hockey. I really don't. There's a reason why the NHL took the players away from the Olympics for a few years, too. I don't really know how much benefit they get.
They got banged up
from
the Four Nations thing last year, too. It's just...
And the Four Nations is definitely better than the All-Star game, but I don't know that it suddenly gave us a massive rating spike in random NHL games. I don't think anyone's just going to watch NHL game that's on TV on Wednesday night because they watch the Olympics. I mean, I say anybody.
I know. Somebody will tune into the Jets to see.
It's negligible. It's negligible, that number. That doesn't mean I don't think they should do it. I think that's part of the problem. I still think it should happen. I just think that we overblow the value of it. I think baseball players should go to the Olympics, but I don't think it's going to suddenly make baseball America's pastime again if they do. I don't think we're all of a sudden going to all catch baseball fever and shut down our plans and spend gobs of money. But yet I think they should do it. It's weird. I think they should do it anyway. These are the talking points. Or you can do your culture wars. You can do this is the right way. Spare me. Spare me. Spare me. It was awesome. It was a hockey game, and it was awesome. Today's show is brought to you by the print issue of PressBox, which is available for free at your Baltimore area highest dairy stores. Anywhere around the region, go pick it up today. You can also pick it up, as I mentioned, many of those hundreds of locations where you find PressBox racks. Go to PressBoxOnline.com/find and be directed to them. It's also free online at PressBoxOnline.com. Dave Ginsburg of the great cover story on Cal Ripken, now at 65, his role with the Orioles ownership group. Go pick that up today. A lot of college lacrosse in there, more on Jesse Minter and Pete Alonso. Great stuff inside that print issue of PressBox. The NFL Scouting Combine is this week out in Indianapolis. Players are arriving and measuring and doing all that stuff. The on-field drills begin later in the week. Let's talk to one of our favorite draft guests and, frankly, one of our favorite football guests about what it is that we're going to learn, who has the most to gain, all of those things, and, frankly, just what he thinks the Ravens should be doing moving towards the draft. He, of course, is with NFL.com. He's our buddy Eric Edholm, and he is back with us now here on GCR. Eric, it's Glenn. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Yeah, good morning. Everything's good here. I'm just packing up for Indy. I'm leaving tomorrow morning and looking forward to a long but hopefully productive week.
I used to go every year, as you know, Eric. I haven't been in a long time. I know that it's exploded in coverage and they had to move and all of those things. Can you still get into Harry and Izzy's, or is it just like a mob scene downtown now?
Yeah, no, I think it's okay. It's funny. I'm curious to see what the scene is like. It's different with the All-Star games than the Combine. The Combine's its own beast. But one thing I noticed in Mobile this year was that the restaurants in the downtown scene was kind of dead. Again, Mobile versus Indy, two totally different situations. But it kind of stunned me. And you hear, like the Rams don't send many people to the combine. The Jaguars aren't sending their top brass down there. Sometimes the Lions dial back a little. So I'm kind of curious to see if it's quite as jam-packed as it has been in the past.
All right, let's talk about, as in your mock draft, you have the Ravens going O-line in the first round, and that makes sense given that they appear to have the need for at least 2 guards, although I do still think Andrew Voorhees will factor in because I think they want him to, and I think they believe in him. They might have the need for a center on top of it, considering we have no idea how this is going to play out with Tyler Linderbaum, and we're certain that it's not going to be a franchise tag. So I'm going to ask it this way. Of any of these linemen, are there any that are guards right now but could viably be left tackles in the future if we are nearing the end of Ronnie Stanley's time in Baltimore?
So college guards who might play tackle in the NFL is what you're asking?
Yeah, of that first group of guards that are going in the first round.
Yeah. The Penn State kid is probably an interior guy, I think, and I only say that because I've butchered his name a few times.
I know. Aon, or I gotta get it right because we're gonna be talking about these guys so much. I gotta do better at this.
I think it's Ioani, I believe that's how you say it. I could be wrong, but I think it's probably more the other direction. I mean, again, it sort of depends on who you're talking about. I think Spencer Fano is a left tackle. Francis Mauigoe, I think, is going to be probably a tackle in the NFL. Caden Proctor's an interesting one, and I think he's one to watch this week because, I think teams are asking themselves what to do with him, the Alabama offensive lineman, and just impossibly big guy, 6'7", 350, 60 plus, and how he tests obviously matters too at that weight. But yeah, I mean, is he a guard? Is he a tackle? I could see a team like the Chiefs. They've had those big, massive linemen at times. Andy Reid always seems to like him. I could see them saying, "Yes, he's our right tackle. Let's stick him there, and we'll figure it out." Other teams may say, "Push him inside. He's better at guard." So he's one where there's some, I think, question about what he is, but there might be more clarity to this year's offensive line class as far as positional projection than there has been in the years past. Maybe I'm forgetting one or two, but yeah, it feels like there's less conjecture about where these guys line up. There'll always be, every team's going to look at things differently, but there may not be quite as much inside or outside debate with some of these guys.
Now, Eric, I ask in particular because as you have the Ravens taking Ioane at 14, the Ravens don't draft this high usually and are hoping not to be drafting this high moving forward. So as much as we acknowledge guard or interior line as a need, is it worth taking an interior lineman this high when you don't typically pick this high?
Yeah, I think it depends on how sure you are of the prospect and how good you feel about them. And, not every team is going to pull the trigger there, right? I mean, there are certain franchises that will not draft a guard in round one. They may draft somebody they think is a tackle and then later move him to guard. And then, claim they had some foresight about positional versatility. But still, I mean, for the most part, there are teams that will kind of stick to that. I think he's got a pretty good amount of quickness for a big guy for who's 330 plus pounds. But I don't know that he's going to be able to move laterally enough to project to the outside. But I heard somebody sort of say like this is the nasty tone setter and just the really high floor player that you're looking for if you are going to take someone in the first round. So again, it'll depend. There are some, obviously some teams will have 15 first round grades this year, on players. I don't know what the number is, but it's going to be less than 32, right? And so if you're picking in the back half of the second round, that choice is pretty easy. If you're right at the cutoff where the Ravens are at 14 or within some short compass of that, if there's a trade, we know obviously they'll move a little bit, but then it becomes that, let's split the hairs here. And are we forgetting a player at another position that may have a little bit more potential or upside or just production?
So I think the biggest talking point for me so far in draft season, Eric, has been the conversation surrounding Ruben Bain. and you have him going 9 to the Kansas City Chiefs, which is a nightmare to me. Like that is some true nightmare fuel in my mind. But I really am fascinated by those that, and the guy that I watched is impact day one, game changer, massive. But then people talk about his size, and is he as sure thing as that guy? Because I'm the type of guy that's inclined to say, hey, you don't draft this early very often. If Ruben Bain is slipping down towards 10, this is the time to go make your move, because the Ravens have been desperate for edge rush help since Terrell Suggs departed. I mean, it's been that long at this point. But where are you in exactly what Ruben Bain is as a prospect?
Yeah, it's easy to see whatever number we get on both the height and the arm length. I think length is going to be the biggest thing. He's got obviously a very thick frame. He's going to have huge hands too. I think, at least the way he plays, it looks like he's got big, strong hands, which will be even more interesting, right? I mean, I think he's probably going to measure with 31-inch arms or a tad shorter. That was the spring measurement, I believe. 30 and 3/4 was the spring measurement. That's unusually short for an edge. That's short for an interior player too. But if you put his numbers just into the draft matrix, I suspect they're going to come out very similar to like an undersized 3 technique in some respects. Like who was the kid from Tampa that Kalijah Cansey, who got hurt early in the year. Again, they're different body types and stuff, but you look at him and you punch in the numbers and you say, okay, so is that what he is? Do you project him to be a sort of fence post end on first and second down, and then you kick him inside as a pass rusher? Teams had a similar debate with Nick Scorton last year, who went, I think, in the second round or third, I kind of forget now, to the Panthers. Didn't have as much production, wasn't as good his final year as Bain was. So, yeah, I mean, again, I understand the argument. If you're going up against tackles with 34-inch arms and long reach, how are they ever going to be able to get to the quarterback in this league? I think with his effort, his force, his strength, his speed to power, you see a lot of different stuff in his pass rush arsenal. He should be able to make it work. And a creative defensive coordinator is going to be able to find ways to unleash him. Is he going to be Von Miller right off the edge right away? No, that's not the kind of player he is. But I think I'd be shocked if he wasn't impactful in some way. So, again, the ceiling could be really high if you're able to get over those measurements. Or if you've had a player before that's been a little bit short on the length side, and you say, okay, here's how we were able to kind of shield him, and here's how we were able to move him around a little bit. And some of that may come on stunts and twists and things like that. So still, like you said, you turn on the tape and you see a pass rushing menace for 4 quarters. He's a pain. There'll be 2 great debates at the edge class, and both just happen to be playing for Miami. There'll be more than 2, but 2 for Miami alone with Akeem Messidor too, is an older prospect. He's 25. He's had some injuries. Good position, and there's a lot to choose from. So who knows? Maybe he does creep into that early teen range, and then all of a sudden the Ravens have a fascinating decision on their hands.
Is there anyone else of that group that you would feel good about at 14 as being like you're going to find your guy for the next 6-7 years? Again, not trying to make somebody Terrell Suggs, because that's a guy that's probably going to be in the Hall of Fame at some point. But the Ravens have been desperately looking for this guy and have had no luck. Is Cassius Howell or Falk, are any of these guys that aren't Ruben Bain guys that could be that guy for the Ravens at 14?
At 14, that's a tough one. I mean, again, Messidor, I don't know that I would take him that high. You haven't seen a 25-year-old edge go in the first round in a long time, and it's certainly not that high. So that's something that some teams are going to have a little more hang up on than others. Keldrick Falk, I think, is a little bit more of maybe a better fit as a 5 technique or something. I mean, a big, long guy with a great frame. So that certainly is something that I think he'll use well in the NFL. Howell, kind of more in the Bain discussion of unusual body type, a little bit shorter. So I think I think both Bain and Howell will fit what the Ravens have had in the past. in terms of, they don't need the longest pass rushers. They need the most tenacious and effective ones, right? And so Howell's a fascinating one. Depending on how he does this week, he might be in play, but I think he's maybe a little bit lower. The argument I would say is that there's enough depth in this class where somebody's probably, and again, I don't remember where they pick the rest of their choices are off the top of my head, but the kid from Illinois, Hawkins, I think is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Derek Moore from Michigan, I thought stood out at the Senior Bowl. Zion Young, I think may go a little higher. He may end up going in the late first round, but I couldn't rule out a possibility of him being a riser. So yeah, there's enough depth there where I feel like round 2, we're still going to have some pretty darn good players at that position.
It's interesting because I looked through your mock draft. There's a name that's been connected to the Ravens a whole bunch at 14 that you don't even have in the first round. The Ravens, we know, we're waiting still word on Nnamdi Madubuike. We're all kind of assuming that it's probably over for Nnamdi Madubuike, but he's put out some cryptic posts recently, and so maybe there's a chance he's going to play again. But if he's not, we think there's a need at defensive tackle, and Peter Woods from Clemson is a name that has been attached to the Ravens a lot. Is this there's just no team that needs a defensive tackle, or is this that you're just not a believer in Peter Woods?
Yeah, that was prior to, I think I posted that Senior Bowl week, but I think I sent it about 8 minutes before I hopped on a flight down there. So,
okay.
Some of it was not, knowing enough about Lee Hunter, and some of it was not knowing enough about Caleb Banks and guys like that.
Sure.
There are a few other D tackles, including Woods, who I think could be in that first round mix. But yeah, Woods, he's a big guy with some twitch. He's got some real block destruction ability too that I think is first round worthy. He's kind of right on that cusp. I could see anywhere from 25 to 50, somewhere in that range, depending on how the next couple months go for him and how the other defensive tackle prospects emerge. But is it possible that with a really big combine he rises even higher than that? Yeah, it is. I think it is. So I don't know that there's any D tackle right now that I'm screaming for that teams have to draft, or that there's one that's head and shoulders above the rest. Banks is an interesting one just because he didn't play a lot last year. I think he played 3 games, and day 1 of the Senior Bowl, he felt kind of invisible to me, and I was kind of wondering what the hype was about. But day 2 and 3, I thought he took over and looked great in both the individual and the team stuff. So, or not individual, the one-on-one's what I meant to say. But yeah, I mean, he's one to watch. He's got that nicely proportioned frame where it's like he's got the junk in the trunk and he's still got some mass up top too and great length. So hard to find guys that kind of match his physical dimensions.
And then I want to talk to you about the wide receivers, because I do still think the Ravens could be in the market for a prototype wide receiver. I don't think the undersized guys make sense. I think that you kind of have that already. But I don't know. Maybe there's an argument, put a bunch of them on the field and just kind of go crazy. Let me start as far as the prototypes are concerned. Where are you with Jordan Tyson? Yeah,
I mean, Tyson, I think, could be the best receiver in this class. You could make a case for it. I mean, good size, speed combination, good length. He's about 6'1", 6'2", 200 pounds, well put together. But the injury history is really something you've got to vet. You've got to go through there and make sure that you're not concerned that this is a spate of injuries that are somehow connected. Obviously, the statistics show that a guy who's been injured a lot in college tends to be injured a lot in the NFL. Doesn't always hold up that way, but that's something to keep an eye on. But in terms of just if you put every prospect's 10 best catches onto a highlight reel in this class, I mean, he and Mekhi Lemon, and there aren't too many guys I think you would say have the best wow plays, the best special moments out there. And he can really contort his body, get up in a crowd, make plays over the top. He's a fascinating player. I think could be really good. There's still some development needed in his game, I think, a little bit, some experience getting off press coverage and stuff. But I mean, he's one of those guys that coming into this week, it's hard to peg exactly how high he could go, but he has special potential.
What? Who else? Who else are you looking at this week, or what are the most interesting scenarios for you as far as the workouts and the field stuff is concerned this week?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I want to know who could vie for the quarterback 2 situation, and Ty Simpson's a big name there, and Drew Aller's somebody I hope people don't forget about. I think he's got tools, so that'll kind of work itself out. Who's the running back 2 after Jeremiah Love? And that's going to be whether it's Jonah Coleman from Washington, the kid at Nebraska, or even Jadarian Price, who was Love's backup at Notre Dame. So that's one to watch. Sorting out the receivers, I think, is going to be fun. The left tackle discussion, this is a good year for up top. I would say round 1, early round 2, there's going to be some interesting players at both tackle spots. But, yeah, and then defensive backs, I think it's a really good group. I don't know that it's truly a special unit where you say, okay, look, there's 5 future All-Pros here and all this, but I think the depth is really nice. Teams are always needing them. So how some of these guys run will obviously separate a few and how they work out. And linebacker's a good group too. I don't love the running back class. I don't love the tight end class. I think some of the offensive line is hit or miss. And defense is going to be kind of the strength of this draft, in my opinion. But, yeah, linebacker, safety, corner, we don't always have deep classes at those spots.
At Eric_Edholm is where you find him, and NFL.com to see all of his stuff. Eric Edholm, enjoy Indianapolis, my friend. Let's talk again as we get closer to the draft. Thank you for taking the time for us this morning.
I'll have a steak and a beer in your honor.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Right.
That's Eric Edholm with us here on GCR. When we come back in, we're going to talk more Orioles. We'll head down to Sarasota. Andy Kostka from the Banner joins us next. Glenn Clark Radio. Love his stuff. Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack. Costas is your place to go. Check out the website, CostasInn.com, for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
The latest edition of Pressbox is available now. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg chats with Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. about his life now at the age of 65. his role with the Orioles ownership group, and much more. Also inside, Bill Ordine helps us learn more about new Ravens head coach Jesse Minter. Luke Jackson finds out about new Orioles slugger Pete Alonso from those who have played with him, and we meet college lacrosse players from programs all across the area. Pressbox is available for free at over 250 locations throughout the region, including your Baltimore area High's Dairy stores. Plus, you can read the entire issue online at PressBoxOnline.com, where you can also find great betting advice and the best daily coverage of the Orioles, Ravens, and Terps.
At Live, we want to say thanks to our community with our biggest giveaway yet. Thanks a Million free slot play giveaway. Join us every Friday in February for your chance to win a share of $1 million in free play, including a grand prize of $75,000 in free play. You could be one of 25 winners each week. So what are you waiting for? Thanks a Million, only at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. At Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Contrary to what some people believe, I actually like this guy when he sleeps. Glenn Clark, talking sports.
All right, back in here on GCR, and let's head down to Sarasota, where I know he's getting ready to watch Cade Povich go to work this afternoon. He, of course, covers the Orioles for the Banner. He's our friend Andy Kostka, and we see him right now. What's going on, sir? How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Everything is good, man. Hey, Dylan Beavers in center field today. Is this something that you think we're going to see more of, that they're trying to make a thing? Or is this more like, hey, it's spring training, sometimes things like this happen?
Yeah, I asked Dylan the other day about if he's going to play some center, and he said that all offseason he was under the impression he was not going to play center. But he said they're going to throw him out there for a couple innings here and there, just kind of feel out what he looks like. And today is one of those days. It's incredibly windy here today. The wind is blowing straight out to center field. So I expect if Pete Alonso hits the ball in the air, it is going to be leaving this yard in a hurry. But I think really what they're doing is just seeing if Dylan can be a average center fielder, and if he can, that gives them a little bit easier time with if Colton Cowser needs a day off, that sort of thing. Obviously, Leody Taveras is in the mix as well for a bench outfielder, but you can never really have too many center field options.
Obviously, the story is what's going on at third base. Do we assume it's not going to be Ramon Arias coming in to save the day? Andy, is it as simple as this is, for the moment, Coby Mayo's primary job to lose, or is it still more complicated than that?
I see it as it's Coby Mayo's job to lose. I don't think he's going to lose it either. I think Coby is really primed to have a great opportunity here to take advantage of playing time. And this is not the way he would have wanted that playing time to come about. Obviously, no one is hoping that their teammates get injured. But with Jackson Holliday out for the very beginning of the season, you're probably going to see Jeremiah Jackson, Blaze Alexander at second base. We are seeing Blaze Alexander at third base today. But Coby, he's a fine third baseman. I know there's concerns, and understandable concerns about what he might look like, at that position. There was a reason why Baltimore moved him to first base, but it's not like he's brand new to the position. He's played third base most of his professional life at this point. He made a nice little play yesterday, charging the ball off, sidearm flip to Pete Alonso at first. If he can be a major league average third baseman and his bat develops the way Baltimore thinks it can, great. If you think about it, at a certain point, if Baltimore believes in Coby Mayo, you got to play him. And if you don't believe in Coby Mayo, you got to get rid of him in a trade. Like, he's 24. He's kind of at a critical point of his career where he's either going to prove to this front office that he's who they thought, they were getting, or you're going to chalk it up to, okay, let's extract value from Coby Mayo in a trade. I am a Coby Mayo believer and think that his bat is going to look more like what he was in September, not a 950 OPS. You're not having.
Why not? I don't understand.
But I think he's a 750 plus or to 800 OPS kind of guy. And maybe there's going to be strikeouts in that, but he has a lot of power. If he can have his timing at a pretty good rate, his double. I think there's going to be a lot of doubles to left center field from Coby Mayo.
I think, Andy,
yeah.
the question defensively seems to be more like everybody knows his arm is strong enough. We all know that, right? It's the accuracy on the throws. And I know he made a nice one yesterday. Also had I think an early fielding issue yesterday on a ground ball that turned into a single. But like, what have you seen in watching him as far as the accuracy specifically is concerned?
Well, this has been a topic of conversation with Coby Mayo since he got moved to third base like 4 years ago. You know, like I feel like I've written this story every spring training I've been down here. Like 2 years ago, maybe it was even last year. No, I think it was 2 years ago. I talked to Tony Manzolino, the infield coordinator, about they were working on Coby Mayo's arm slot, and they wanted it a little bit more, sidearm 3/4, because he was throwing over the top, which is like, that's how I threw, but I was an outfielder. Like a third baseman, you want to be able to like flip it sidearm to second base really quickly. And when you're charging, a ball like you did yesterday, you want to be able to flip it out of 3/4 to first base. They were working a lot on that. So this is a constant area of growth for Coby. He is only 24. He has a heck of a lot of arm strength. We've seen it. It really is like more the bigger thing is, can he be accurate with the arm? I like to think he can be and will be. Will he have an error here or there? Probably. Like, this is the nature of it. And the big question is he going to hit well enough to where you accept that he's going to have an error once every like 7 days? Like, that's the risk reward. And if he's hitting 820 OPS, you accept that he's going to have an error every once in a while.
It's funny. What you just said, Andy, is sort of like where my opinion is. I was talking about it with Brett Hollander the other day. Like, my opinion is I think getting the everyday answer on Coby Mayo is worth the trade-off of whatever negative there is defensively. And maybe that answer ends up not being, to your point, maybe it's not what we think it might be. But I think at some point the Orioles have to have that answer. And we talk about, like, Heston Kjerstad hitting a home run yesterday. I don't even know how Heston Kjerstad factors into this baseball team at this point. And I think that you do run the risk of getting closer to a point where Coby Mayo is no longer a prospect and you just don't know what he is as a baseball player.
Yeah, it's kind of a big time for a lot of these guys to show who they are. Like, just extending to like beyond Coby for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
like Heston, he's missed so much time, and when he has been healthy, it's very hit or miss on whether he is looking good at the plate or if he's kind of lost at the plate. So it's an important time for Heston, who's 26, I think, to show, like, can he be a everyday major leaguer or even a platoon guy? Where does he fit in on this roster? I have no idea. Maybe he's the first call if Tyler O'Neill or somebody else, hits the IL, in this outfield. Maybe Heston's the first call, but I doubt he breaks camp with the team purely because he missed so much playing time last season. So from that perspective, I imagine Heston would be in AAA. Colton Cowser, like, what is he gonna develop into who I think we all thought he was after his rookie year? Is he going to nip some of the strikeouts in the bud? If he can do that, he could be an everyday center fielder. Just like, frankly, I don't think he's going to be like a +4 out above average center fielder where he's just running down everything. I think he's a major league average center fielder, and maybe that's okay because his bat could be to a point where, again, like, you can live with a major league average center fielder because his bat is so good. So these are all big questions, and there's so many questions about so many guys in this field. Even Gunnar, like, is he going to look like 2024 Gunnar? Or like last year? I think you accept last year as like, that's a really amazing season for most players.
Right.
But if Gunnar is an MVP caliber guy, there's another level that he can get to. So there's a lot of questions all around this lineup right now that the best outcome and like projection systems show, like, Taylor Ward's totally going to hit 40 home runs again, or 38. But, you know what I mean? But the other factor in that is Taylor Ward's going to have to compete with a massive left field wall in Baltimore.
Yeah,
how does that impact what he looks like? Is he going to be better than a 230 hitter? This is all things that we're going to find out over 162, and I don't know the answers to yet. But my gut feeling is that the lineup is going to be a strength. But how much of a strength is really the question.
It's so fun. Andy Kostka, the Baltimore Banner, is with us. What you just laid out is like a conversation we've had every day, and it's to me, I don't think the Orioles had a bad offseason. I think they had a good offseason, but given all of the volatility that you're talking about, and it's an outrageous amount of volatility, I just think it required trying to stack the deck a little bit more to make up for some of that volatility. Like you're going into a position where you now need the better end of those ranges to play out for so many of these guys, and maybe it will, right? It's what I keep saying. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe Trevor Rogers is going to be exceptional for the entire season. Maybe Kyle Bradish is ready to be that guy for 100 and I don't know how many innings you can expect. 50, 150 innings for Coby Mayo, maybe. Like maybe all those things are going to play out. But as you just laid out, those are just pitchers we're talking about now. Gunnar Henderson. There's so much volatility with this group that I think that's where the disappointment in not making a couple more bold moves came in to try to lessen the need for all of those outcomes to be on the higher end.
In my defense, I have been battering a drum, off season that it would have been really nice to go get an ace.
Yeah.
In defense, of the front office perhaps, and their thinking and just playing kind of devil's advocate, I think there's a certain amount of volatility with an ace too.
That's fair. Yes, that's fair.
Like I think there is the risk, of course, when you offer 5 years and 160 million or whatever the offer was to Corbin Burns, that he tears his UCL and is out for 2 years. Like that is a massive risk and probably the worst possible outcome for the Arizona Diamondbacks would happen there. So I think it would have been massively helpful to have like a bulldog front line starter. But I do think Baltimore believes a lot in Trevor Rogers and they believe a lot in Kyle Bradish. But no, you're completely correct. You are Baltimore's really banking on the best possible outcome for so many guys.
Yep.
In the bullpen, too, you're banking on Yennier Cano looking like 2023, 2024, and not 2025. You're banking on Dietrich Enns looking like he was after he basically was dumped by the Tigers. Like I can just go down the list. You're banking on Ryan Helsley. Helsley looking like 2024 Ryan Helsley and not New York Mets Ryan Helsley. Like up and down this roster, I think that's the same case. Like you're so close to the Orioles and like you pay so much attention to everything Baltimore does that everything is like you can pick holes in everything.
That's fair.
If you look really closely at almost any team except maybe the Dodgers, you can pick holes and say like all right, well the Detroit Tigers have Terry Skubal, but beyond like Jack Flaherty, what's their rotation look like? Like you can basically do that with every team. And it's kind of interesting. And I sometimes feel like we get so close to a team for good reason. Obviously, this is my job. This is your job, and fans are fans for a reason. Like you're right to like worry about your team, but Baltimore's not the only team relying on everything going right.
Andy, it's a very fair assessment of what you're talking about. Again, if we were having the conversation in Detroit, that's probably the conversation that we'd be having today.
Yeah.
I know I got to let you go in a minute because I know you got to get ready for a game today. But if I could, because I know you wrote about Trey Gibson this weekend, who obviously looked great on Friday, and we all got to see that on TV. I think it's a similar conversation as the conversation that I've been having with a lot of people about Tyler Wells. To me, it seems like the math would say Tyler Wells needs to be a bullpen option like immediately. Immediately needs to start settling into a role as a late inning specialist because he could be special in that way. And then the response is, right, but what if you have two guys get hurt between now and opening day? You're going to want him to go into the rotation. It's very fair. Trey Gibson, I assume, is going to keep working to be a starter, I think, because that's where his strength would be. But as you just alluded to with some of these questions about the bullpen, at some point, when might any of these guys factor in as guys that can help solve some of these problems in the bullpen?
Yeah, I think we will see Trey Gibson honestly, I would be shocked if we didn't see Trey Gibson by August. He's I realize his first taste of AAA was the raw numbers don't look great, but those are like 30 innings and a new level. Like you got to figure out a new level everywhere you go. He looks incredibly good. You know, everything spins out of his hand. Like we saw he threw 5 pitches, 5 different pitches, and everything spins. He's throwing a sinker now as his primary fastball against righties, which I love. Like he's a ground ball machine, and his death ball, as he calls it, you know, it's funny. He's like, you can call that pitch like a million different things. You can call it a gyro ball. You can call it a gyro slider. I just wrote a story today about Cade Povich.
I saw that. Yeah.
He's now throwing a gyro slider, which is basically the same thing as a death ball. But Cade Povich doesn't want to call it a death ball. But he's like, you think you have to earn that? Like you got to like.
Your
death
so
ball has
smart.
to be good enough.
That's so smart, right? Yeah. Like if everybody's killing you,
yeah. If Cade Povich comes out and his gyro slider starts looking like $1 million, then you can start calling it a death ball.
On board.
But until you get there, you have to call it a gyro slider, which is just a complete aside. But I do think, you know, they're gonna make Trey Gibson a starter for as long as possible. Because who knows? Like if they have another injury-riddled season in rotation, you have a guy like Trey Gibson ready to jump in. But I do think his arsenal looks really good out of the bullpen, and we've seen it work with some guys. Like their first taste of big league action is as a reliever, and then like I'm thinking of the guy that played for the Orioles and then is now with the Blue Jays. That doesn't really matter. We've seen it like over the course of history where a guy will break through as a reliever for their first like half season.
Oh,
and then he'll be
Gosman? Is that
yes.
Yes, yeah.
So like they'll like be mostly a reliever for the very beginning of their time.
Yep.
And then they'll be, you know, a starter for the rest of their career. I think that's a great way to kind of get your feet wet in the major leagues instead of like we see it so frequently. Young pitchers, like the second time through a lineup in the major league level, they get shelled. Have them figure out the major league level by facing like, you know, go 2 ups, 3 ups at most for half a season. Figure out what you need to work on in the offseason, and then come in 2026 and Trey Gibson's a rotation option. Or excuse me, it is 2026 now.
27. Yeah, I know what you meant. Right.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's what I would kind of look at it like. There's a couple guys like that are going to be in the conversation in 2027. Luis De Leon is a little farther off, but I imagine he'd be a rotation option at some point. He looks great. Lefty with high velo. Love what he's been doing. Levi Wells. I mean, I know I'm just like going down the list, but there are some exciting guys. I think Levi Wells probably projects longer. And like, I don't know. I haven't watched this man pitch enough in person to really say this. So like, I apologize to Levi if I'm completely off base, but just like the amount of like the velo on his stuff, I'd love to see that out of the bullpen, sooner rather than later. Like he might be a guy that long-term is still a starter and can do that. But I like the idea of him as a bullpen guy just because he is a flamethrower. It's an interesting group. And we saw Chase McDermott now. He's going to be going, purely as a bullpen piece, which I like a lot. There's a lot of young arms that I do like in Baltimore's organization. And I could just keep talking about all of them. But there's a lot to like, even if they're not like the highest rated arms in baseball. I think there's some high upside people here.
This is a question that I've legitimately never asked, but it came in from somebody named Jeff. Jeff said, is there any way that today when we all want to watch the game that Andy could just turn the phone around and stream it himself? I assume there's like a rule against that like you're not allowed to just create a stream of the game. I've never asked. I have no idea because everybody's taking videos. You guys are doing that during the game. What are the rules? Do we know?
I think I'm not allowed to live broadcast.
Okay.
Because of there's a rights holder. Even though there's not a live broadcast, I'm not allowed to stream live.
That's the sense that I got. I sensed that if that was allowed, it would have happened by now.
Yeah. I've considered it so many, I'm not even kidding. Like so many times I'm like, I should just go on like start a live stream on
dude, Twitch. There'd be thousands. There would be thousands.
Just do that.
on a day like today.
Put my phone up and just let it run. But I think the issue is that I would run into a rights holder issue.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think that is the answer.
I don't want to get sued. Yeah, of all the things I want to do, one of the things I don't want to do is get another lawsuit.
I think that's probably as someone who had that happen to him once upon a time. That is a smart decision. Griffin made the mistake of showing the Olympic hockey highlight the other day to start the show, and I'm pretty sure he's going to end up in the gulag. I'm pretty sure that's the way that it's going to go. If you're not following Andy, I don't know what you're doing. At AF Kostka is how you do that. And, of course, thebaltimorebanner.com is where you see his stuff. And he's done some national stuff, too, but we'll forgive him for that. It's just
I'll have some more national stuff, just like a programming note. I'll have coverage of 2 Nationals games this week, but we're hiring people at the Banner to do that. So I'm only helping out in the interim. So no one needs to panic yet. Not that you would panic. But,
I would not be happy about it personally. I mean, if it was good for your career, I would be happy for you, but I would not care for it myself. Andy Kostka, always, it's great to see him, man. It really is. Appreciate you, brother. Let's do it again real soon. All right.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Andy Kostka from the Baltimore Banner with us live from Ed Smith Stadium as they're getting ready for the Braves today. And our buddy Zach Moore checked in and said, there will always be injuries. Kjerstad will get some at-bats this year. I have no doubt that's true. It's more a global question, and this is something I think that Craig Albertaz addressed last year, is the line between doing what's best in the moment for the team in the attempt to win and doing what's best globally for the organization. And you want to believe that the Orioles are at a point where you're always doing what's best that day for the team to win. But at some point, it felt like they needed to figure out if Heston Kjerstad was a baseball player or not. And they never really – and some of that's on him because he did get a few extended looks and it never really worked out. It's more accepting that what was once an asset is now a diminished value. And I think that's the fear that a lot of us had about Coby Mayo going into this season. This is, to Andy Kostka's point, not the way that you want to get the opportunity to get an answer, because this baseball team is better with Jordan Westburg, because Jordan Westburg is the epitome of a professional baseball player. He just does everything well when healthy. But I think you could argue maybe that who's this guy that Tyro Estrada? He doesn't really play third base though, right? He's not really a third baseman. You could argue that you could find a better third baseman defensively, someone who can play the position better than Coby Mayo can. But I think the point that a lot of us are coming to is
primary second baseman.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That right now, it's better for this organization to try to get a more definitive answer on Coby Mayo, because his trade value isn't going to go up if he's not playing every day. And I know somebody's argument would be, look, you say he's 24, but he's only 24. And you never know. Somebody else might get hurt, and that might be that. I'm saying uniquely right now, given what the options are, I think it's important to get an extended look at Coby Mayo and have him in the lineup regularly. Was it Jacob Calvin-Meyer last week that suggests he would be in the lineup against lefties? I think you need to have him in the lineup more than that and start to figure out if Coby Mayo is a regular player and say, hey, if Jordan Westburg comes back, that's when you have a really good problem on your hands. And that's when you might figure out if one of these guys could run out to right field when inevitably Tyler O'Neill is going to be hurt. And I hate that, but it's inevitable. He's going to be hurt. And figuring out where all the at-bats come from, because, again, somebody's going to be hurt at all times.
If Tyler O'Neill doesn't get hurt, what is he at, 60 home runs?
Why are you selling him short? Yeah. If Tyler O'Neill could play opening day every day.
Yeah, right. It would just tell him, hey.
I mean, my God.
Pretend you haven't swung a bat.
Right. Every day was opening day for Tyler O'Neill. All right. Apologies. Some of the other things that have come in. John in Little Rock.
I'm with John on I like the 3v3 hockey. Maybe it's because I call college hockey a lot, and whenever you get in overtime in college hockey, it's like, I don't know. It's just.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, it's just, you're just on edge. Like, you can't take your eyes off of it.
It is.
You know someone's.
Where I agree with that is I would compare it to baseball. I compare it to the product is good, and that's why I'm in favor of the extra inning rule. But as I said before, I still think in the postseason you shouldn't go to the regular season extra inning rule. Now, there's a fine line to that. As I said, there's no gain from ever having a 17-inning game. There's nothing good that comes from a 17-inning game. Your romantic memories of the one late-night game in Seattle that everybody stayed up to watch do not make up for the fact that there's nothing to be gained. People are just leaving the ballpark. It's empty. They're not selling more beer. They can't sell any more advertising.
It's like game in Anaheim
just
too.
what's that?
Like game in Anaheim too.
Right. It's just and then you have to get new pitchers the next game, and then if it happens in the playoffs, you're not even allowed to get new pitchers. There is nothing good that comes along with a 17-inning game. You're just a masochist that didn't have to go to work the next day. With respect. Like, part of the reason why we remember it is because we were all a little bit younger and we didn't have jobs. Most people had to go to work and had to turn the game off. A few of us either didn't have jobs or, again, had types of jobs that allowed for us to. I was doing afternoon radio, so I was able to stay up until, my God, whatever it was. I don't remember.
Well, you stay up until 5 a.m. every night, right? That's what you're saying.
Mostly. So there's nothing good that comes from it. But I'm still torn, right? Like, I love the extra inning rule. I love it in the regular season. I think 3-on-3 hockey is great for the regular season. And in the context, in the Olympic context, I think it's great for.
Go back to the injury thing, like keeping guys healthy so they're not playing, 40 minutes on the ice.
But when you're talking about the gold medal, the championship, maybe it'd be more like, I think you play an overtime period, and then you do 3-on-3 after that. I still like it better than a shootout. Like, I don't think we should be determining a gold medal in a shootout. I hate that.
Why? Because we win? Too easy for us?
Well, they didn't take TJ Oshie.
Yeah, but he was teaching everybody, I think.
Oh, so forever they're going to be good because TJ Oshie. I definitely don't ever want it to be a shootout.
Maybe they just bring TJ Oshie out just for that.
They just put him on the roster. Like, hey, bro, look, you're retired, but
if we ever get to this specific situation,
correct, then we need you. We're calling upon you. I just don't think for the championship I want it to come down to that. In the same way, I don't think I would want Game 7 of the World Series and I love the extra inning rule. I'm the biggest extra inning rule guy there is. And maybe after a certain number of innings, I would say, okay, you played 13 innings, Game 7 of the World Series, you weren't able to get a winner, go ahead. Now go to the extra inning rule. But part of the negative of these things is, well, it hurts your pitching, right? Well, if you don't have another game to play, then
right. Yeah, Game 7 is almost that's what you don't want. I guess that's the only so are we trying to write a rule? The only specific situations, Game 7 of a hockey playoff series, Game 7 of the MLB of an MLB.
Well, I mean,
series.
I don't think the NHL is ever going to consider 3-on-3 for the playoffs. I mean, the playoffs in the NHL, I think, will forever be. They're just going to keep playing.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I don't think that. I mean, maybe they look at it and say, "Hey, we should think about this," because it's the same thing. This is it's one of the things that gets brought up when we have these conversations is the TV. There's a TV factor to it where you want to play another game after that. Like people don't even like in the NHL. Coaches will say they don't even like this in the regular season. They don't like the goofy overtime, shootout. Like they would rather just play hockey. Well, you have to get another game on television because people need to be able to watch the games. So if ESPN's got a 7:30, 10 o'clock doubleheader, they can't have the first game going till 11:30 p.m. So, or if they got a college basketball game to air at 10 o'clock. This is part of the deal. You do have to do things for television. So I could never see them changing it. In the regular season, they're going to do what they're going to do. In the postseason, there is an argument for what is the good of second round of the playoffs, triple overtime? What is the good of that? If that game started at 8:30 and it's being played past midnight where people can't even watch it, TV does have to be a major part of this conversation. I don't know, man. I don't have the answers, but to me, that shouldn't determine a gold medal in the Olympics. Not immediately. I would play one more period of hockey and then
I mean, you
go
still
to that.
got, like, if we want to go back to Nathan McKinnon's comments, who was the better team, like, when the U.S. and Canada were both in overtime games in the rounds leading up to the gold medal match, like,
I understand.
You would probably argue that they were both the better teams in their respective games.
They were.
And they win, and they found a way to get the win. So
I don't think it's a guarantee that it means that someone's going to rob a victory. I don't think that. I think uniquely when determining a champion, you should try to play as much as you can, as much within reason of legitimate 5-on-5 hockey. And what within reason is, like, my gut tells me it's one overtime period. It's play one more 20-minute overtime period. And if that's not enough, then go to 3-on-3. It's so rare that if you play 3-on-3, you're going to go more than like 5 minutes without somebody scoring. It's so hard to go more than 5 minutes without somebody scoring a goal in 3-on-3. But my gut tells me it's one period. And again, I would say the same thing about baseball. Like, I love the extra inning rule. I probably wouldn't want to implement it, but I would after like 12 innings. If you play 12 innings of baseball with, in the postseason, and that's not enough, then I would go to the extra inning rule. I would. And I love the extra inning rule, so I'm, and I still don't think I want it in the 10th inning in the playoffs. But in the playoffs, I'd probably make it 12. And this is all arbitrary. I don't have any, like, as I said before, if your argument is, well, you played a game. And that's always my argument, right? Is you played a game, you had your chance, you didn't do it. You're not wrong. You're not. I'm not really arguing with you.
Go back to the one I'll cite because I had it 2 weeks ago at the Stevenson hockey game. Stevenson women's ice hockey was playing the best team in the conference. Like, perennially, they've been the best team every year. They've won it every year. And Stevenson's in a rebuilding year. So they have a first-year head coach, and they played. It was 2-0 the whole game. They were losing. They scored 2 goals in the last 90 seconds. They got a power play. They pulled their goalie. They scored 2 goals in the last 90 seconds, forced overtime. And, and it was like, oh, my gosh, is Stevenson going to pull off this massive upset? And the better team won. I mean, the better team still won. They were playing Wilkes. Wilkes got a goal like a minute and a half into overtime, and they were playing 3v3. And, still, Wilkes had to play 60 minutes. They didn't. They only played 59 minutes. And that's why they were stuck in that situation of 3v3 where it's sudden death.
The argument of
I think it's a great. I think it
adds.
It's very entertaining.
And I just don't think the gold medal game is the spot for it. That's it. Or again, as I said, or immediately, I don't think the gold medal game is the spot for it. I acknowledge that I have one of the milder arguments because there would be people that would say they should never be 3-on-3 hockey.
I mean, is it like you're worried they're not making as many line changes because it's only 3-on-3, so it's harder to get guys
I think one of the things, I genuinely don't know the answer. Like, what if there's a penalty?
You add a player.
Yeah, that's
so it's 4-on-3.
So it's kind of goofy, right? Like, it's kind of goofy.
Until we get double penalty, we get 3v1.
I mean, the whole thing is just kind of goofy to me. I don't know, man. I'm not screaming about it. I'm not the hot take artist. This is an embarrassment to hot. My gut tells me that when championships are at stake, I want to play as much of the normal, the quote unquote regular version of the sport as you can. That's what my gut tells me.
Are we having this conversation if Canada wins yesterday? Like,
I would be having the same. We were having the same conversation about the women, and we're having the same conversation about. The first time I realized that it was 3-on-3 in the playoff round, I had that like. I don't love that. Now I feel differently about it in the quarterfinals. Like in the quarterfinals, these teams still have 2 more games to play.
So you're saying strictly for the medal games.
I'm
like
saying the championship game. And yeah, if you want to say the bronze as well, I don't know. I don't feel quite as strongly about the bronze. I'm really talking about the championship.
Those countries playing in the game too.
And I would argue that it's the same feeling that I have like in baseball. If you said, "Hey, we're going to go to the extra inning rule in the 10th in the division series and the wild card series," I would say I'm good with that. In the league championship series and the World Series, I'd probably prefer you play 12 innings and then go to the extra inning rule.
Have the players vote on it.
It'd be interesting to see what the players. I don't know. That's a really good question. How would the players vote about that? I don't know. It's funny. I had a great conversation with Zach Britton the other night on WBAL about he was on the executive. The Chris Bassett, the comments that he made last week got a lot of attention because Chris Bassett is on the executive subcommittee for the Major League Baseball Players Association, and he is drawing the line in the sand, and he's using the parity argument, right? Like, well, we've had more different champions than the NFL has had, which is not. He wants that to be a conversation ender, and it's not a conversation ender. It's far more complicated than that. It's how many cities go into the season believing that they have a chance and an opportunity. Parity isn't just who wins the championship at the end, because we recognize that there could be a dynasty team in any sport. Michael Jordan, for example, won 6 in 7 seasons that he played, and one of them was a half season. In 7 seasons that he played, he won 6. We recognize that. Dynasties happen. Somebody might just be greater than everybody else. But it's about the feel that you have going into the year and the excitement and how good that is for the sport. And the argument that's hurting baseball right now is how many cities. I'm not saying there's no excitement in Cincinnati for baseball, because the Reds aren't garbage. And there's always going to be. God, when the Orioles were terrible, we would still show up on opening day. Like, Lord. I was there for the Jay Gibbons game. I was sitting in the snow, man, in the upper deck. I did all that. But it's by May when you're just utterly and completely checked out, and it leads to you not watching baseball at all. And the comparison is that you don't see that in other sports, that within a month. Obviously, if you're a fake Washington Wizards fan, you're laughing right now. You're like, well, we're not there for opening night.
Yeah, you're right.
We've never been
They're not
there. Okay, but
I wonder what that would look like.
That's one. I don't know how many Washington Wizards there are in the NBA. I really don't. I don't know how many utterly and completely moribund franchises there are. Once upon a time, the Cavaliers were, then LeBron James showed up.
Yeah.
The Clippers were moribund. I mean, the butt of every joke, and then that completely changed.
Like, the Pacers are bad this year, but like
they were just in the NBA. They were in Game
there.
7 of the NBA Finals last year, right? Like, they had an injury go there the wrong way. I don't know how many moribund franchises exist in the NBA. The Hawks.
Mavericks are trying to get there, yeah.
And the Mavericks are trying, but they're not that far removed from being in the finals.
Right.
Like, the Hawks
but they don't have any of that roster.
The Hawks are fairly moribund, right? Like, the Hornets are pretty moribund.
They had an All-Star this year, though. The Hawks did.
They did, right? That
His
was
name is,
it was. Oh my God, this was the one I couldn't think.
Yeah, this is the one.
Because I figured out Duran, right?
Yes, and he's not an.
Yes, he's a
Hawk.
Piston.
Yeah.
And the Hawk was. I don't remember already.
Same letter, first and last name.
Johnson?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jalen?
Yep, there you go. Yeah, so you do.
I thought I was going to be embarrassed. It's really funny. That's who I thought it was.
Sure.
No, it really was. But I thought I was going to be embarrassed when I said it. Like, no, that's not it. And then when you said the double first, I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm good here. But there's not many of them. I bring it up to say that, like, I did in this long conversation with Zach Britton at one point say, is there anything that the owners could trade you guys? I say you guys. I kept doing that with Zach like he was still part of this. And it'd be like, hey, man, you remember I'm retired, right? But is there anything that the owners could trade the players that would get the players to be willing to consider the concept of salary cap? And he was like, I don't think so, man. Like, I can't think of anything else the players in baseball want. Like, what do they want?
More money, right?
I mean, but that's it, right? Yeah. Like, that's all. Like in football,
all the money.
In football, the argument would be like, maybe you could trade off, like, we'll shorten the season, or we won't have Thursday night games. Or, like, there are things that
I guess they're probably not doing that, but
yeah, I mean, they're not doing any of those things. But at least
a buy after
we have evidence that the players don't like those things, and you could maybe use them in bargaining chips. They're not to the point. They're not going to. But I don't know of anything that the baseball players want. I know nothing of what baseball players want, and Zach Britton couldn't help me with that. It seems like the answer is no salary cap.
Yeah, they
that
want
list
things
of
to stay the same. Like, it's.
And there, it's interesting.
Right, yeah, so if the MLB says, all right, fine, we're doing the fully automated balls and strikes, we're doing, I don't know, I'm trying to think of what else.
Yeah, I don't know.
90 seconds, strict 90 seconds between innings.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. It came from you asking what the players would vote for, and I don't know the answer. But I'm still pretty sure I don't want it to be that you determine the gold medal. And I say that, like, if you played an overtime a period and then went to it, you'd still be determining the gold medal that way. So,
and maybe that is how that is, if the players aren't going to budge, then that's how the MLB sticks to. Okay, you want all the money? All the money's coming from TV. So how do we make this product literally the best it can possibly be for television?
Well, and isn't that somebody spoke? Was it Kyle Gibson who spoke about that recently and was like, I can't remember. Somebody spoke about how angry they were that Rob Manfred walked into the clubhouse and said, and look at how things are better because of the pitch clock. And they were like, no, they're better because we're better. Like, it's not because of you, it's because of us. And that's interesting because as someone who admitted is usually anti-commissioner, because it's just who we all are. We're all anti-commissioner. It doesn't matter who they are. We boo them. That's the way that it works. As someone who's inclined to be anti-commissioner, I've had to acknowledge the things that I was opposed to are things that have worked. Like, I was not in favor of the extra inning rule. It's worked. I thought the pitch clock was aggressive. It was Kyle Gibson. It's from Cardinal territory. And, of course, I love Kyle Gibson. Who doesn't love Kyle Gibson? Did Kyle retire? That's a great...
I don't want to definitively say yes, but probably. I don't know.
It's so funny that I don't...
You want to listen to him
talk?
Go
ahead, sure.
Rob Manfred makes his rounds in spring. You normally saw Rob at least once in the middle of a season, and he would come into a locker room. Everybody heard about the Bryce Harper story from last year. I haven't seen anything escalate to that in my time in the locker room with Rob. I've seen some interesting conversations. For instance, in 2023, when the pitch clock came in, that he came into the Orioles locker room and was just raving about all the attendance and raving about, how strong the state of the game was. And, the attendance in Baltimore was essentially because the pitch clock made it so much fun for people to be there. It had nothing to do with that the Baltimore Orioles were outperforming all of our expectations for 2023. It was because the pitch clock made it a great game to watch. Just some of those things are, you kind of roll your eyes out a little bit like, Rob, you can read the room here. You're standing in a locker room that is overperforming and has high attendance because we're playing really well.
Okay. I mean, this is an interesting. It's
Not
because
exactly like
because he's probably right to an extent, but yet we all know the pitch clock has been good for baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one of these where both things are true. If he was like discrediting, if Rob Manfred really was like, I'm the only reason why you guys are getting people to come to the games, then yes, that's a dumbass thing to say. But I think the truth is probably somewhere in between these things, where if the players don't like something, they're more reluctant to acknowledge that it's good. And if you don't like the commissioner, you're more... Dude, I have no reason to like Rob Manfred. The joke is that Rob Manfred doesn't like baseball, but I can't lie. The pitch clock and the extra inning rule have been objectively very good things for baseball. Not mildly good, very good. They have been very good for the product. It hasn't made baseball America's pastime again. It hasn't made it so that, I'm willing to watch non-Orioles games. But I don't know that anything will. I think certain things are just regional sports. I think we all want to be the NFL, but you can't get that. The regular season matters deeply in the NFL, in college football, and to an extent you can get it to matter in college basketball. You can get people to watch. It's amazing how it works. On Saturday night, the number 1 and the number 3 were little numbers next to those teams' names. And that made people interested. And it'll happen the same way when Iowa State plays Arizona or
Kansas plays Houston tonight.
Right, exactly, because there's going to be little numbers next to those.
Lost on Saturday, but people are probably going to watch.
They're going to watch, and they're going to be invested. In college basketball, a little bit more so than other sports. It's very difficult to get anybody to be invested in a regular season game in the NHL, NBA, or Major League Baseball that doesn't involve their team. If their team is playing, though, they're largely very invested. It's a weird... We are regional sports fans when it comes to those sports. We are absolutely on board with our team until they're, awful, and then we kind of check out a little bit. But we're on board. We're watching night in and night out. We're there. We're talking about it. We're living and breathing it in those. We don't feel that here because there's no basketball or hockey team. And
right, but if there's a market that has a basketball team but not a baseball team, like they would be doing right. Like they wouldn't be caring about the MLB every night like we are.
Correct. That's the reality. And again, if your team stinks, like in Washington, they do not care about the Wizards. They don't. Period. But that's because the team is god-awful. If by some miracle the Washington Wizards were ever a good basketball team...
Come on, AJ DeBanza, save us.
Yeah, sure. You're going to take Darren Peterson, right? And then he's not going to play for 5 years.
I'm hoping he gets the first pick, and then they take him at 1.
But like, if there was ever if that ever happens, then that city will be invested. It will. It's just a unique level of bad. It's like that organization has never existed. It's that bad. I mean, it really is maybe the most moribund franchise in... God, I got to think about that. It might be the most moribund franchise in American pro sports.
Is it because we can't say the Browns just because they're still an NFL team?
They're an NFL team, yes.
And people...
and that city
if they're playing
is
Monday Night Football,
invested.
you're watching anyway. Yeah.
And that city cares deeply, deeply about the Cleveland Browns. Now, they're infuriated, but they care deeply.
Mm-hmm.
In Washington, it's like that. They don't exist. If you just walked around D.C. today and like tried to ask somebody about the Wizards, good luck.
Hey, name a player.
Yeah.
$100.
I don't know
Wizard.
how many people you'd have to talk to before you got one, right? Like, I really don't. They don't exist. It's not like that. Yes.
Good content. We should do that. Glenn on the street.
We're not
Glenn and Griffin on the street.
We don't do DC.
Yeah, but we could dunk on DC.
That's true. That is and I guess that's fair. I guess that would be a fun concept. But yeah, those sports uniquely are regional. And it's weird, right? Like, I think that they have improved even the regional aspect of it. Even as someone who's a regional baseball fan, I am if there were no Orioles, I would not be a baseball fan. That's the way I am with the NHL. I don't have a team.
You'd be a baseball fan.
I'd be a baseball fan, but I wouldn't be watching games until the postseason. Yeah, that's the way that I treat the NBA and the NHL. And I even have a team in the NBA. I have one. There's a team I root for in the NBA. It's just that they play late at night, and the games are very rarely on TV.
When the Wizards prove that they're going to, maybe be in contention for the 10 seed, I might start watching in March.
Okay. Go right ahead. I'll invite you to do that. I don't know how we got here. We're all over the place in this segment.
Sports. Yeah.
Is that what it was? Is that broadly we were trying to fix everything?
Coby Mayo, good third baseman? I don't know.
Yeah, is that how we... No, we got here at the 3-on-3 hockey thing. That's how we got. The 3-on-3 hockey thing and the comparison to baseball and the changes that Rob Manfred has made. I don't know how we got here, but we can call it. Like, that was... I don't know what that was. That's what you get. It's a snowy Monday. Today's show brought to you by County Sports Zone. The A and B conference titles still to be handed out tomorrow night, if I remember correctly, at UMBC. You can find out more by going to countysports.zone, proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer, and buyatoyota.com in order to find out who's gunning for those conference titles. We'll come back in. We'll get a tidbit and tubular to wrap it up. Glenn Clark Radio. Get in the game with Volo Sports. With over 15 sports to choose from, join a league or grab a Volo membership for discounted play, free daily pickups, fitness classes, and exclusive events. But the best part? A portion of every league fee helps the Volo Kids Foundation provide free sports to over 5,000 kids across Baltimore City each year. Don't miss out. Early pricing for the winter season ends December 12th. Final registration deadline is January 15th. Sign up now at volosports.com/Baltimore.
At Live, we want to say thanks to our community with our biggest giveaway yet. Thanks a Million free slot play giveaway. Join us every Friday in February for your chance to win a share of $1 million in free play, including a grand prize of $75,000 in free play. You could be one of 25 winners each week. So what are you waiting for? Thanks a Million, only at Live Casino and Hotel Maryland. At Arundel Mills. Must be 21. Please play responsibly. For help, visit mdgamblinghelp.org or call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Your car is more than just a ride. It's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, we've spent over 20 years perfecting the art of repair. From high-end imports to your trusted daily driver, we handle all makes and models with elite precision. Our team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. We make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery because at Leading Edge, customer satisfaction comes first. And remember, with insurance, it's your car and it's your choice. Choose the experts. Leading Edge Auto Body. Quality you can see. Service you can trust. Go to leadingedgeautobody.com today.
The weather's getting cooler, so when you and your family are picking out a place to dine, be it lunch or dinner, let's make it nice and easy. Now, with 2 great locations, the Costas Inn remains your #1 destination. Whether you want to get steamed crabs and the full Costas menu out at the original location at 4100 North Point Boulevard, or sample the complete menu minus the steamed crabs at the new location above the grandstand at the Timonium Racetrack, Costas is your place to go. Check out the website CostasInn.com for a look at the menu, and if you want to plan that crab feast, call 410-477-1975. The Costas Inn.
Gambling can be a fun and entertaining experience, but there are risks involved. If you're planning on betting on the game at the casino or on your phone or computer, know your limit, stay within it. Set a budget and a time to stop. Remember, gambling isn't a financial solution, and it doesn't mix well with alcohol or drugs. Know the risks and have a plan before you begin gambling. For free and confidential services, call 1-800-GAMBLER 24/7 or go to helpmygamblingproblem.org.
Looking for Baltimore's premier waterfront dining experience? Head to Nick's Fish House, located in the Baltimore Peninsula. Enjoy crabs all year long, plus happy hour Monday through Thursday from 3 to 6. Planning a celebration? From rehearsal dinners to corporate crab feasts, Nick's is the spot to make it unforgettable. And the fun doesn't stop there. Live music fills the air every Thursday through Sunday. Check out the full lineup at nicksfishhouse.com. Nick's, it's where Baltimore comes to eat, drink, and play by the water.
Make the most out of every day in your Toyota RAV4. Available in hybrid or gas-only models. A RAV4 can get you where you want to go in style. Check out buyatoyota.com for deals on new RAV4s from your local Toyota dealer today.
Coming back in here with Glenn and the other guy, Garrett, whatever his name is. You know who they are.
I do miss day sportsing. That's the sadness that comes along, like when the Olympics or for me, like the U.S. Open ends, is like finishing the show and knowing I can watch something. Like, I miss that part significantly. I could really go for I'm fiending for a curling match right now. God! Somebody just give me a damn curling match to watch, for Christ's sakes. Is there anything we didn't cover from a crazy weekend of lacrosse? Everybody lost. Nuts weekend of lacrosse. Syracuse, we were all anointing
Maryland women won.
Okay, there's that. Syracuse, we were all anointing them last week as they beat Maryland. They turned around and lost to Harvard. Maryland loses.
Well, everybody's losing. The Ivy League's juggernaut.
Yeah, Maryland loses to Princeton.
No shame in
that. Hopkins lost to Carolina. Navy beat Penn State. That was a very nice win. Very nice win for Navy. Loyola beat UMBC, and Towson lost to St. Joe's. It was a rough weekend, rough lacrosse weekend. Maryland basketball won a game, so there's a thing that happened.
Talk about sports we're watching, yeah.
I wasn't here on Thursday.
How many people were watching that game? The Washington, so it was a 12 p.m. local tip for Washington.
They brought like 100 alumni to the game, and it looked like when they put them all on the court, that meant that nobody was in the stands. Like, there were people that were there that were sharing pictures of all the alums on the court, and I was like, oh.
Apparently it was like hot dog day. I didn't realize, I forgot they were playing until my sister around like 4:15 sent me a picture of her and her roommate like in their hot dog hats.
Oh, she went to the game.
Yeah.
She was there. She was in the minority. But they won. So they got that going for them. The women won again this weekend, which is good. And UMBC's in first place in the America East. We like
that's right.
that.
Couple big wins.
Yeah, beat Vermont last Thursday. We like that. Towson.
Disappointing. Man.
I think Morgan and Coppin were both winners this weekend. So.
No, Coppin won. Yeah,
Yeah, Morgan won at home. They beat who did they beat? They beat UMES, maybe? Is that who they played?
Probably. Yeah. I guess I wouldn't know. Yeah, I guess
Damn it.
Because we can
We do have
confirm
the
it.
internet, yeah. And we confirmed that Kyle Gibson did retire, by the way.
Tyro, that was
they
one
beat,
thing.
No, they beat Delaware State. Coppin beat UMass.
Tyro Estrada has played 13 games at third base.
Hey.
13 of
It's
526.
Called being an option. All right, let's get a tidbit. Tidbit is brought to
St.
you
Mary's won
today.
yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Excellent. We like that. These are good things. We like it. Tidbit is brought to you by, this one's going to be brought to you by the Stan the Fan Variety Hour. I don't have anything on the docket for Stan today, but he did a couple of shows last week, and if you missed them, you can find them at facebook.com/PressBoxSports, including catching up with Mike Schilt of the Orioles coaching staff, so you can find that. And it's always brought to you by the Costas Inn. 2 great locations, one in Dundalk, the other in Timonium at the Grandstand for the Stan the Fan Variety Hour.
Hold on, I'm trying to get my. What the heck? Why doesn't it want to work here? All right, give
good.
me a second to make sure the Google machine works here.
Well, I'm not prepared.
Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Dropped 30 points on Saturday night, I believe.
And then what did Get Higher 77 have to say about it on Twitter afterwards?
I don't know. Is that what everyone
You're not
thinks
aware
is?
of the burner
Think
accounts?
that's what his burner is?
That's what everybody says. Oh? Nothing to follow it up with?
No, I don't. I'm
All right,
trying to
maybe
make
we
sure I
just
get
go
this
home.
status. No,
Maybe we just wrap it up.
Sixth. He's got. Hold on, I got 400
Oh,
some game. 430th
God.
career 30-point game for Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Who are the top 5?
Michael Jordan.
Jordan is second.
LeBron.
LeBron is 1.
Next is Wilt Chamberlain.
Wilt is third, yeah.
I mean, he's just kind of going with the guys that scored a lot of points at this point. Like, there's no real rhyme or reason to
Maybe
this.
we should do the top 10 then. Mr. Cocky.
I mean, Karl Malone.
Karl Malone is 4th.
Oh! I didn't get in order because I said Jordan first. I said LeBron second.
True. Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
He is who Kevin Durant passed.
Yeah. Kobe.
Kobe is 5th. Yep.
There you go.
So you got the top 7 there. 3 left in the top 10 if you want to go for it. Those are also the 7 that have over 400 games of 30 points. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else is in the Carmelo.
No, not Melo. Melo, 21st on the list.
Okay. Wow, he sucks.
Yeah.
I can't believe they put him in the Hall of Fame. What a loser. Somebody's going to cut that up, and it's going to make me look really stupid.
Now Melo never come on with
Yeah,
this
right. Dirk.
Not Dirk. Dirk, 24th. Worse than Melo.
Bum.
Yeah.
Just a
Imagine being
bum.
worse than Carmelo.
Bum. How about Shaq?
Nope.
Oh, boy, this went. Elgin Baylor. It's always Elgin Baylor.
Not Elgin Baylor.
Damn it. How about
Baylor's 12th.
How about Moses Malone?
No Moses.
How about
Moses is outside the top 25.
How about Oscar Robertson?
Oscar Robertson is in the top 10.
All right.
He's right behind Kareem.
Big O.
So you're still in order, technically. Not really, but yeah.
Tim, the big fundamental.
No.
Kevin Garnett.
No KG.
Steph Curry.
No Steph.
Dominique Wilkins.
Dominique Wilkins is 10th.
Hey.
One more.
You know what his nickname was? It's a great nickname. It's a tremendous nickname.
Dominique Wilkins. His son's playing right now, right?
Doesn't have anything to do with what his nickname is.
Who's his son playing? TCU, I think.
Okay. What does that have to do with the question that I asked?
I'm just trying to think. I don't know.
The human.
The human highlight.
Close.
The human
highlight
stopper.
Reel. The human highlight reel.
I'm trying to think. Like he was a good defensive player, wasn't he? I don't know.
It's not the reason.
Oh,
Elvin Hayes.
No, not Elvin Hayes.
Allen Iverson.
No, not
Dr.
no
J.
No.
Larry Bird.
No.
Magic Johnson.
No.
Good God. Jerry West.
Jerry West.
Hey.
Is ninth on this list. There you go. There you go. How about it? Dominique Wilkinson is on.
I gotta go. It's 12:50. How the hell did I let you do this again?
He's on Georgia.
I let you do this again. Here's what's coming up tubular-wise, and it ain't much.
Getting my bubble teams confused.
Thank you. Tubular is brought to you today by Live Casino and Hotel. Still another opportunity for you this Friday to win your share of the $1 million of the free play that they've been giving away this month, but you got to be a Live Rewards member, and they're going to have one final special drawing on Saturday. to wrap up this great month. So get to Live Casino and Hotel. Find out more, livech.com. No TV or streaming for the Orioles today. There is an audio broadcast if you're an MLB TV subscriber as they take on the Braves at 1:05. Garrett Bauman and Cade Povich, the pitching matchup.
We're just refreshing Andy
Correct,
Kostka's
for as much video as he'll
Twitter.
share out. As Griffin mentioned, Houston, Kansas tonight at 9 on ESPN is very good. And, yeah, that's about all I got for you. Netflix or WWE Monday Night Raw at 8. Some basketball. Do you know the Peacock games are also on NBC Sports Network if you get that? So Spurs Pistons at 7, Jazz Rockets at 9:30. I don't know if I get NBC. Well, I don't get cable, so I definitely don't get NBC. But I get them all through Peacock, so that's what matters.
Yeah, it has been nice that those just pop up. It's like, oh, this game's on.
Yeah, right.
And the Peacock's broadcasts are actually pretty good. I think.
I think they're just NBC broadcasts.
I know you're excited. Yeah, it's a big night for NBC.
I believe John Fanta is doing one.
Yeah, he's been all over the place. Is he like?
No, but I think he's doing NBA now for Peacock.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yes,
Good
that's what I'm
for
saying.
Sean.
Like calling the games.
Season 29. I know you're excited of The Voice.
Yeah.
That comes after.
Who are the panelists on The Voice now?
I don't know. I should have looked it up. I guess.
No, you shouldn't have. Nobody cares.
That would have been
Nobody
that would
cares.
have been a better tidbit. Probably.
I mean, is Reba still involved? Adam Levine?
I don't know.
This will be the problem is this will be a trivia question at some point, and I will be naming like people that have not been on. They've never watched an episode of the show. Season 29 is Kelly Clarkson. I love her.
Kelly Clarkson.
John Legend and Adam Levine, apparently.
There's got to be a fourth, right? Or are they only doing?
They're showing
There's
3.
gonna be a surprise tonight.
Reduced to format changes. Reduced to 3 coaches. No live voting.
It's like 3 seasons a year now.
I don't know, dog. Whatever.
And then the Tracy Morgan show, the rise and fall of Reggie Dinkins.
I don't know. Like
They're
I
doing
want to.
the second episode tonight.
It's a similar concept as other shows that I like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt and Girls 5 Eva, where it's the 30 Rock. It's the just hit you with the next joke before you've thought about the last joke. But
it's Tracy Morgan and Daniel Radcliffe.
It just wasn't. I don't know. I'll look at it more, but it just did not hit for me the way that I wanted it to hit.
Paradise Season 2 on Hulu.
I don't know what that is.
That's the
sure.
Sterling K. Brown show where he's the president. He's like stuck in a bunker in Season 1, and now I think everyone's out.
All right, very good then.
We figure out what happens next.
Thanks to today to Andy Kostka. Thanks also to Austin Benigni, as well as to Eric Edholm. We'll get that up in the greatest hits section of the.
Tracy Morgan's going to be on Fallon alongside Cooper Flagg tonight.
There you go. Tab at GlennClarkRadio.com. Sure. Why not?
Because they got to push I guess the Mavericks aren't completely Mormons. They rigged it so they could get Cooper Flagg. Ridiculous.
Anything tomorrow?
Ryan Ripken's going to join us.
Oh, Ryan Ripken's going to join us. He was doing TV this weekend.
Yeah.
Saw that. Happy for him.
And then we'll probably talk college basketball. Got to confirm. But yeah.
All right. Very good. Thanks to everybody at PressBox, all of our great sponsors and partners, including Volo Sports, Leading Edge Auto Body, Live Casino and Hotel Maryland, the Costas Inn, Baltimore Area Highs Dairy Stores, CountySports.zone, your local Toyota dealer, buyatoyota.com, 1-800-GAMBLER, helpmygamblingproblem.org, Nick's Fish House, and more. Thanks to Griffin at Griffin_Bass. Follow us, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Glenn Clark Radio. Have a great Monday evening. Go nobody. Duke sucks.